let's start off with some trivia.
So our first question is, when was Holland founded? If anyone wants to answer.
Like 1847?
Wow.
Thank you.
I would have given it 1848.
Right.
Good job, Dan.
Holland was founded by a collection of Dutch settlers in 1847.
Our next question is, what is Holland known for?
Today it's known for being a visitor mecca or a tourist mecca. Okay, but I suppose years ago it was known for farming.
I would say tulips.
Oh, no, when spring's about.
The Tulip
Oh.
Time Festival.
Teamwork here, see.
So our final question is, how many museums are there in Holland? This is including like historical and art museums.
I would say 5.
12.
Close.
There are only 4 museums to contain all the glorious history that Holland has to offer.
What are the 4?
Pumphouse Museum, Holland Museum, and then there's also the
There's
Art
gallery.
art gallery, and then
Isn't it the Arts Council or whatever?
Arts Council.
But the Holland Museum has Settler's House and another adjunct off-site building.
Just as a question, could the Joint Archives be considered a museum?
You'd have to ask them about that. I think it's an archive rather than a museum. Because
Okay.
it's not generally,
Just curious.
not generally open to the public. And has anyone here been in the archive? It's open to researchers.
Maybe, I think so. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll definitely try to get in there at some
Yeah,
point.
okay.
Just a question.
Anyway,
So, our solution. One of the big aspects of this entire cooperative effort was just that cooperation. We all come from various backgrounds, we all have had different life experiences, and we utilize this knowledge to come up with around 2 solutions, and then to just basically lay out a plan of attack for the Pumphouse Museum in its future efforts in the driving question that was given to us.
So the driving question that we were asked to answer is, how can the Pumphouse Museum collaborate or build a relationship with the Holland Museum to collaborate, communicate, cooperate, and just build a strong relationship with them?
So our goal was to come up with an answer to this question. So we did a lot of things to help us further understand and have like context to the driving question. We went to Pumphouse Museum and Holland Museum, and we interviewed a lot of people about some of the ideas we had and things we were thinking about. We also explored a lot of the different ways this question could be read, and in the end we came up with a couple different solutions to choose from.
Alright, I will be explaining how we narrowed our ideas down to 2 solutions. So, first we played a game called Rip, Slap, and Pass. This is where we took a sticky note, wrote down an idea, and put it in the middle of the table. Then we took turns passing around a sticky note, and we would either add to an idea or create a new idea that was close to that idea. Then we organized them all into 10 main groups. After we had that, we picked 10 from each group that summarized it the best. After that, we played the $100 test. This is where we put all those 10 ideas onto a board, and we gave ourselves $100 to dispute among all of them. This helped us focus on what we need to focus on the most and what we could get rid of. It also helped us look at it from a more realistic way and what we need to spend more money on. Then we had the critical friends activity. This is where another group came and we told us our then 5 solutions. They gave us feedback on those, and we looked at their feedback, narrowed it down to 2. And those 2 are?
Your critical friends were peers, other students?
Yes.
Other
From a different group.
From
different groups.
Yep.
Thank you.
Dual exhibits and scavenger hunt.
Alright, for the dual exhibit idea, we thought we could have a exhibit that has like sort of half of it in one museum and half of it in the other museums. So one part at the Holland Museum, one part at the Pumphouse, which would drive traffic to both locations and would just be a better like visitor experience for people who are into museums and history and want to learn more. For the dual exhibits, we had the idea of making them interactive so that people could actually touch something, play with it, you know, it would be more enjoyable for children, and again, it would improve the visitor experience.
So, having been the provider of such an idea, I put forth this, I guess, example. So, Lake Michigan, Lake Michigan, that's one of the many lakes in the Holmes doctrine that Michigan shares. That being, it also has had a lot of shipwrecks. So, for this one, say for instance, you wanted to cover something maybe about the Edmund Fitzgerald. So you take one half of the boat, and then you would have it at the Pumphouse, and then you take the other half of the boat, and you have it at the Holland Museum. So you'd have basically one set of like information, a set of like, just like going through each event, and then you'd cut it off. And then just say, if you want to learn more, you should go check out the Holland Museum or the Pumphouse Museum for the other half. So then that would incentivize visitors like, hey, I really like learning about that. Maybe I should head over there and learn more. This could also be too, make it interactive. Maybe you take like a ship's wheel. We went to the Holland Museum, they had a ship's wheel on display that would not spin. That is one of the like worst things you could do to somebody, is have a wheel set, ready to go, and you can't spin it. Kids would be appalled at such a thing. So you have to put a wheel down, you let kids spin it, and you obviously want to manage it because you don't want kids smacking each other in the faces. But yeah, it's just, it provides that sort of direct connection between the two museums, and just incentivizes that true bond connection between the two.
So yeah, by creating a dual exhibit, that would help both museums attract more visitors, and it would kind of like almost create publicity for the two museums and help them share a bond. And this is also, we feel like a good alternative, because Holland Museum has said that they don't want to share their exhibits, like put them at the Pumphouse. So we feel that this is a good way to help counteract that and still find a way for them to collaborate on exhibits. And then with interactive exhibits, we just feel that would be a good way to help attract more visitors and make it more entertaining for people.
So another idea that we had was the scavenger hunt, and this would be kind of an example of what the map would look like with different locations that people could visit. So obviously maybe we would start off at either Holland or the Pumphouse Museum, and then end at the other, so that there'd be like a direct connection between the two. And then in between those locations, people could visit other popular locations in Holland, like the Windmill Islands and Holland State Park. Just a few ideas. And then this would last the entire summer season, so that so it'd be like when we have like peak tourists in the city, everyone would be able to have a chance to visit. And there would be small prizes for everyone, which is shown on the next slide. So an idea that we had was maybe stickers or pencils that had either the Holland or Pumphouse Museum advertised on them, so people would remember that, and either coupons or vouchers for restaurants in the area to help promote other locations.
Now for the project expenses, the passport would be under $1,000, and we could print out passports and get a designer maybe, and that's according to Vistaprint. And then the prizes cost, the coupons to close businesses could possibly be free, since some businesses might love collaborating with us since it helps their business. And then customized stickers promoting the Pumphouse and the Holland Museum can be up to $200 according to Make Stickers. And the dual exhibits would be free, they'd have no cost since they're already in the museum's budget for exhibits.
The new museums would, the cost would vary.
Why these solutions? We weren't able to take a deep dive into all of our ideas, but we did explore the two we presented pretty thoroughly. We ended up focusing on just these two because they connected best to the driving question. In talking with authorities from both Pumphouse and Holland museums, we learned that both museums are very interested in improving their visitor experience, as well as creating a better connection between local museums. They value giving their customers and visitors an enjoyable and educational experience. We hope that the scavenger hunt could bring in a younger audience and make visiting museums a more interactive experience. We also hope that by potentially having shared or dual exhibits, we could help Pumphouse and Hall Museum to continue making their relationship stronger while also improving visitor experience. Thanks for watching.
May I ask you a question? Who or with whom did you speak at the Holland Museum?
We spoke with, I think, Ricky and Michelle. We did a Zoom call with one of them, and we also met some at the Holland Museum when we visited there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm amazed at the time and the process that you went through to get the answers to these questions. So now the burden of this is on me to go to the Holland Museum and seek out these people and say, okay, now let's sit down and talk a little bit about what our first step might be, you know. And that's gonna take some time. We have to understand what their philosophy or their business program is, or the business plan is like. You know, how can we fit into that? Do they have time to talk with representatives from the Pumphouse Museum, and vice versa? You know, we would love to have them come out and see our facility, the staff and some of the docents, so that they can be aware of what we have on display and how they might point that out to visitors, short of having a split exhibit, which I like that idea too. I hope there's a way we can find out a good exhibit to do, and the shipwreck might be the way to do that. That might be fun.
I just figured it would be a fantastic starting point, because you hear plenty of stories about ships just being, torn apart by the great waves of the Lake Superior or something like that.
That's true. And it just so happens that the person who designs our exhibits, as you may know, the great love of her life is shipwreck exploration and preservation in the ship. Valerie Van Heest. So I was hoping that she might be here today, but she wasn't able to. Big busy lady. But we got the recording, so I'll let her know about that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, very good. Okay.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah,
Good job.
good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's been fantastic to work with local people from the Holland community, get a better insight to especially our history, and have an opportunity to visit museums and stuff like that as well. I didn't even know this, but apparently one of the exhibits at the Holland Museum actually featured my great-grandpa Clang and his farm in Porculo.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that was featured there until I actually walked in, so it's been an experience for me as well.
Well, it's all too